just around the corner is the BookTubeAthon. I'm sure many of you have heard about it in years past. For those of you who are new to the community, you might not know, but every year, sometimes even twice a year, there's a BookTubeAthon where booktubers really get together and celebrate being part of this community and reading a whole bunch of books together. This year, the readathon is taking place from Monday, July 18th until Sunday, July 24th, and it is being hosted once again by Ariel at Ariel Bissett. I'll link her intro video down below about the BookTubeAthon. And of course, with most readathons, and especially with the BookTubeAthon, there are a number of challenges that readers are supposed to try and complete. So I am going to give those a shot. It's not gonna happen, but I'll give it a shot. So it's 7 days, there are 7 challenges, and I've picked a book for each challenge because I'm overly ambitious, even though I know it won't happen. It won't happen, but anyway, here we go. So the first challenge for the BookTubeAthon is to read a book with yellow on the cover, and for that I chose Exit Pursued by a Bear by E.K. Johnston. The yellow is along the bottom here. It's a setting sun, so yeah, there's the yellow. And this is a YA contemporary novel about the captain of the cheerleading squad who gets roofied and raped at a party, and sort of how she becomes the outsider and how her and her best friend Polly deal with this together. So I'm looking forward to some like girl power, girl friendships, relationships. I'm really excited to read this, and it's really short. Perfect for the BookTubeAthon. The second challenge is an interesting one, and it is to read a book only after sunset. It's summertime here, so the sun does set on the later side and rise on the early side, so you want to pick a book that's shorter. And so for this one, I decided to choose Where Futures End by Parker Peavyhouse. It's a sci-fi novel that follows a number of different characters during different time periods from present day till up to 100 years in the future, and somehow they're all connected. And I've heard good things about it, so I'm interested to see how this translates, because it isn't a huge book, and that seems like quite the undertaking. So we'll see. The third challenge is to read a book you discovered through BookTube, and this is something that I could choose a lot of books for that, because BookTube has definitely influenced my reading choices over the past few years, but I did decide to go with Redefining Realness by Janet Mock. I first heard about this from Ashley over at Climb the Stacks, and she brought it up a lot, and it's definitely a book that I don't think I ever would have found on my own. It's one of those things that you have to be introduced to by somebody else. It's a memoir, and it is about Janet Mock and her journey as a transgender woman and sort of breaking down the barriers that she did for the transgender community, where she came from, where she is now. It sounds like it'll be a really impactful read, something that I'll want to really read, which is exactly what you're looking for in a readathon. The fourth challenge is to read a book by one of your favorite authors, and if you've been around this channel for a bit, you may remember that I really enjoy books by Jon Krakauer, so I decided to pick up the one book of his that I own that I haven't read yet, and that is Under the Banner of Heaven. This is another nonfiction book, and it's not about climbing, mountaineering, adventures, that sort of stuff. Usually that's what he writes about, but in this case, this is completely different. This is about Mormon fundamentalists. But it's not just about Mormon fundamentalists, it's about 2 particular guys that claim they got a commandment from God to kill this woman and a baby. I really love Jon Krakauer's writing, and although this isn't what I typically read by him, I am intrigued because it's basically a crime novel, and it's about a very interesting part of humanity. Mormon fundamentalists don't understand them, so I'll get some insights in this, I'm sure. Number 5 is read a book that is older than you. I was born in 1992, so there's lots of choices out there for what I could read, and I did have quite a few choices on my bookshelf as well, but I decided to go with Butterfield 8 by John O'Hara. This was published in 1935, I believe. I should double check that. 1935. So this book has interesting roots in the sense that John O'Hara read this story about a woman whose body washed up on the shore in New York City, and he took that idea of how did this young, beautiful woman end up in this situation, and he made it into a fiction novel. Although I haven't heard much about it until I was given this book, it at least does sound intriguing. And it's also a Penguin drop cap, and I haven't actually read the ones that I do own of the 3, so I feel like it's finally time to pick one of these up. The sixth challenge is to read and then watch a book-to-movie adaptation. Now, technically, I could have picked Butterfield 8 for this, but honestly, it's like, it was made in the 1960s. Those sort of films are usually such a bore. I decided, and also in order to get 7 books, I decided to pick up The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey. And it even advertises with a little sticker here that the movie's coming out soon. I mean, it's come out now. I was sent this book unsolicited at one point, and so maybe I'll finally read it. It's huge. So I don't know if I'll finish it, but I'm more interested in checking out the Fifth Wave movie just to see how it is than I am in watching a 1960s melodrama. I don't know much about this, honestly, considering how many people have read it. All I know is that it is about aliens and invading Earth, and each wave something different happens, and then we're on the fifth wave. So I'll see. I'll figure it out finally. And then the last challenge is, as always, to read 7 books. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, that's totally not going to happen for me, but it's nice to dream. So for my 7th book, I am cheating slightly, and I'm going to read a book that I'm already about halfway through, not quite halfway through. That book is The War That Saved My Life by Kimberly Brubaker Bradley. Her name is so hard to say. It is a middle grade novel that takes place during World War II, and it is about Ada, our little main character here, and how once the war breaks out, she has to leave London with her brother, and it's really the first time she's ever gotten to be out in the world because she was raised by a horrible, horrible mother. And she's really getting to spread her wings and learn things about herself and realize that maybe life doesn't have to suck all the time. And it's quite good so far. I'm really enjoying it, so I want to keep reading it. I'm sure I'll finish it during the BookTubeAthon, but yeah, I'm cheating a little. Oh well. Those are my 7 books I plan on tackling during the readathon. I'm aiming for 3, but we'll see. Maybe I'll get lucky and I'll be able to squeeze another one in there. Not sure which one I'll start with officially. Probably Exit Pursued by a Bear, but I'll see what I feel like on Monday. I know a lot of folks are going to be participating. I've been watching a lot of TBR videos, but keep them coming. Feel free to share your TBRs down below. As always, all of our links are in the doobly-doo. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you later.